I know all of you love to knit and some of you love to cook. And here we are the day before Thanksgiving, and that is all that is on anybody's mind. So I thought I would lean into that knitting and cooking connection. So I have asked a celebrated Washington, D.C. and Leonardtown restaurateur and owner of Sweetbay here to join me. Welcome, Mr. Peter Lupo.
Thank you for having me.
I am glad you're here.
Thank you.
So I'm Ellen Lewis from Crazy for You. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please click that button. When you hit subscribe, you'll get a little sparkle. Go ahead and try it right now. So you know that I am normally live in this time slot on Wednesday nights, but Peter couldn't possibly get away from the restaurant at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. So like I said, this is pre-recorded. So if you are watching this in the regular time slot, hi, I'm glad you're here. So Peter, let us talk about this. You probably never thought you'd be on a knitting YouTube channel.
No, this is definitely a first for me. Definitely a first.
This, however, is not the first time that Crazy for You has done the whole knitting cooking collection.
Who else have you had?
No, I mean, you know I love to cook.
Yes.
You know I love to eat.
And I appreciate it.
So I love to cook, and I mean, I really appreciate what you do over there. So a few years ago, Jenny May, who is our sock knitter, she and I collaborated on a collection of socks, sock patterns inspired by the iconic ingredients of Southern Maryland.
You were mentioning this to me the other night. It's very interesting to me.
So, I mean, it's kind of fun. This whole sock thing, you know, you do like a collection and you have to have kind of an inspiration. And we wanted something that was very indicative of our region. So we were looking for things that were, as I say, iconic for Southern Maryland. And what we came up with were oysters.
Okay, sure.
Right? Blue crab.
Yes.
Okay. Stuffed ham. Right?
That one is new to me.
Okay.
I've been a Marylander all my life. And of course, and I live on the bay up in Annapolis, but so oysters at the end of my dock, fishing and crabbing and everything has been part of my life growing up. But the stuffed ham is new since I've been down here in the last 4 years.
It is a very, very localized dish, right? I mean, it's not a Maryland thing. It is exclusively a Southern Maryland thing.
Okay.
Right? We were talking about stuffed ham before the phone in the shop rang.
Yes.
Yeah, it is very, very local. You know, you don't get it outside of, I don't think, St. Mary's even.
I have, again, only since I've been here, and I have several customers have been telling me about it, and I ask what it is, and they all have their own different weird recipes. Sounds delicious, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, it is. And then the last one that we picked was wine. Because I wouldn't say that Southern Maryland is, you know, a wine powerhouse, but what happened was, you know, Southern Maryland used to be a tobacco industry, and there was a grant. They did the whole tobacco buyout, and they wanted people to grow grapes instead. So that was kind of a thing. And you know, we have Port Leonardtown,
Of course.
right?
Do you know that, I don't know if we've talked about this, but you know that the whiskey industry, the bourbon industry actually originated here in Southern Maryland.
Really?
And was kicked out.
No. When was that?
It was kicked out in the late 1800s, early, like right around the turn of the century. And they kicked them out and they went to Kentucky. And you know what's happened since. Basil Hayden was originated here. Maker's Mark was originated here, and we could have been the bourbon mecca of the world. Instead, it is Kentucky.
I had no idea.
Yep.
How did you know that?
One, if you actually read the Basil Hayden history, they talk about their move, and then several people have actually given me that history and their regrets of that decision.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Some of those decisions people make, they just really have no idea.
No, the long-term repercussion. I mean, Kentucky is very happy about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure
it is just, I mean, aside from the industry and the jobs and everything else, but also the tourism.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to talk about that later. Maybe another time we'll get the Tobacco Barn Distillery on here.
That is a great thing, and
Wouldn't that
they're
be
they're
fun?
trying hard. Yes.
Yeah. So the ingredients, oysters. You have
Okay.
oysters on your menu,
Yes.
right?
Always.
Always.
Hmm.
All year round? Not all year round.
We don't do raw year round, but we
Okay.
do oysters and different recipes with oysters year round. Yes, ma'am.
Do you?
Always.
Okay. And what is the most popular?
Honestly, it used to be the oysters Rockefeller,
I do love that.
which people love, but now we have it's actually our chef came up with the recipe himself. It's a little bit of a twist on casino, the casino, like a
Like a
clams
clams
casino.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just so rich. So this time of year, we're getting, you can really get local oysters, which is great. We get them from Hollywood Oyster Farm, which if you go around the country and you order oysters, you see them from Maryland, from Hollywood Oyster Farm. It's really become an international business, and it's a huge business here in Southern Maryland. And we buy from there because they use a strain of oysters that are not local. They've actually found that it's an Asian oyster that is really, really good at filtering the bay, but more importantly, not keeping the chemicals with the oyster itself. So they're a much cleaner oyster.
Okay. What is the name of that? Because I was trying so hard to name all of our little patterns. Like this one is Crassostria. Is that the one? Is that it?
I don't know. I will find out. I mean, we get it. Each bag, it's one of those other things that you have to be really careful with the health department. We actually have to save every tag, even though we don't serve them raw right now. We still have to save every tag, and we keep them, and where the delivery is and things. So they're very, very specific.
And I remember you saying that you don't buy shucked oysters.
No, we shuck them.
You
Absolutely.
shuck them right there.
We get them live. Yeah.
And I have never had a shell. Somebody in their kitchen must be doing a great job because I ordered a lot of those oysters.
Yeah, Jack and Juan are good.
Yeah,
they
very,
really
very cool. So the oyster thing that we did is this cute little sock, and this is the colorway. It's this beautiful kind of blue, gray, and pale. Doesn't that sort of remind you of oysters?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that is the first one, and then
they also look warm.
You've never had hand-knit socks, have you?
Oh no,
certainly not. And that's my recipe for fried oysters. You don't do fried oysters at the restaurant?
No, we did them in the beginning, and we really, really try really hard not to fry a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
On the menu, it's first of all, there's nothing more delicious, so I don't want to ever criticize anybody for frying stuff, and I don't blame anybody because I love it. But it's our concept to really, really do things. I mean, we use a lot of rich ingredients, but frying is a very standard kind of practice down here, and we want to set ourselves apart. So when you walk into our place, to a lot of people's chagrin, there's not
no fried
very
oysters.
much, and there's not a lot of fried food. Period.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with it.
So.
I don't need it, but those are yummy. And that is on, if you're in Southern Maryland or probably anywhere in Maryland, fried oysters are probably on your Thanksgiving menu. Yes? Tell me in the chat if they're on your Thanksgiving menu.
They look really good.
They are so good. So just so you guys know, when Trisha Malcolm and Arne and Carlos were here a few years ago. You remember when they came, Arne and Carlos?
Absolutely.
That was kind of a big deal, right? We brought them over there a couple times.
Super fun people.
So nice. Anyway, I made this recipe for them, and they loved it. I think the oysters in this area are really different. I mean, when I taste oysters in the Pacific Northwest or in New England, they're really different.
Very, very much so.
Okay.
Well, ours are grown in the bay, which is brackish water. And most of those other oysters you're getting out of cold ocean water, which are incredibly salty. So there's and a lot of people want this, but there's a lot more brine in those oysters in the North Atlantic and also in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest. Yeah. Which I love. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I love those oysters, but it is very different.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times they're a lot smaller too. And ours are a bigger strain. I love the diversity. When we do raw oysters, which we do as a special, especially on days that we're not going to be completely buried and slammed, we try to have either 2 or 3 varieties. And usually we choose like a Pacific Northwest and then a local.
So kind of a
So that
tasting.
exactly, and of course the servers come and tell you what is what and where they come from and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing that I noticed, and I was sort of looking at this today, the oysters that I had, they were like, they weren't as creamy as the oysters from the bay.
Hmm.
They were like more, and maybe they were just molting or doing whatever they do. I don't know. That they were sort of, they were more lighter. You know, these were creamier, and I feel like they sort of stand up to the being cooked a little bit, maybe a little bit
I
better.
would agree, and I think our oysters are actually, if I was frying or if I was baking, I would rather use ours than the
Yes,
others.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
The next ingredient that was an inspiration for us was Maryland blue crab. And this is our little Maryland blue crab. The colorway is just gorgeous. It's a sort of blue green.
That is really cool.
This would be the uncooked, the uncooked blue crab. And the pattern is so cute because it's got this little, see how that looks like little crab claws?
Yes,
Isn't that cute?
it is.
She's so clever, don't you
I
think?
a lot of credit for being able to, I mean, that's art. So
Absolutely. And she designed those herself. Okay, you say you don't fry much stuff, but I gotta tell you, Bill is addicted to the stuffed mushrooms with the crab meat inside.
that we fry.
Yes.
And that is, I mean, it's really almost no way other to do it. We tried to bake them, but it just wasn't as good. So you take the stuffed mushroom, you add a little cream cheese, you add some, add some lump crab meat, and then they're breading, and then you drop it in. I mean, that combination of flavor is, it's hard to beat.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's hard to beat. It's,
And you guys do crab cakes too.
for now, they will probably be done for us. This is probably a very big day because I would assume today will be the last day we have them on the menu for the rest of this year.
Really?
We only use Maryland jumbo lump. We do it market price, and at a certain point, it goes away.
Yeah.
So we got our last delivery on Friday of 10 pounds of crab meat, and so
Oh my
I
gosh.
think we maybe have 6 or 8 orders left, and that's it. When we began, we would then switch over, and we would use Venezuelan, or we would use some of that packaged crab meat from other parts of the country or other parts of the world. It's just not as good.
It's not. It's a
not
different
as
animal.
good. And it's, even though they call it blue crab, once it's been packaged and they put the preservatives in it, again, not the same.
Right.
So we have made a decision that this year we're just going to take them off and wait till we get them back. And it means that we'll probably only have them on our menu 5 months a year, but we're willing to do that. And I think our customers will appreciate it. It's a big item off our menu.
Huge.
Big item off our menu. People love it and they come in for it. We use hardly any filler. We don't fry our crab cake.
I
We
know.
actually bake it, and it is it's wonderful.
I think that's a really important thing to remember. Sweetbay uses Maryland crab. And when you're thinking about that, you're talking the Maryland crab that comes in the plastic container, right?
Yep.
And not the canned. You know, you would be surprised how many restaurants that you would think are local crab are not using local crab.
Oh no, and I know this is arrogant, but I'll tell you this right now.
Shocking, Peter.
I'm telling you, there's a difference.
You know it.
When there's that Virginia line, and I don't know if there's something different in the water, even because it's just a line right out there 10 miles into the bay, but there's a line. When you try to get the Virginia crab, it's different than the Maryland. It's just not as rich. It just doesn't taste. There is a different taste, and maybe the Virginians would say that, oh no, you're wrong, and ours is better. Maybe so. You got to like your state. And then North Carolinians, they probably have an argument too, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Our crab, and who knows what's causing it, but our crab is the best in the world, the best I've ever had, and I've tried it all over.
Yeah. So I think it's really interesting too, because when people come to Southern Maryland and they're like, where am I going to get crab cakes? You know, they really want that. And they're not going to have that same experience at other places as they are at Sweetbay, because you do use that. But what if they come and it's not crab season? I mean, they're going to be so disappointed.
They will. But it is, I think I'd rather tell them the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm trying to give them other crab meat now, it'd be a lie.
Right. No, I get that.
It'd be a lie. I mean, I could say it's our Maryland crab cakes. Jerry's, I got the idea years ago. Jerry's Seafood in
In Prince Frederick?
no, well, same guy.
Okay.
But he franchised. But he originally started in this little dive place in Lanham, Maryland.
Okay.
And it was the spot in Prince George's County, the only spot really in Prince George's County. And I worked in politics there coming out of college, and that's where the power meetings would take place. You'd go in there, the governor and the county executive and the council and senators, they'd all be there. But he made what was called a crab bomb, and it was jumbo lump crab meat with, just enough to hold it together. And he put it on your plate, and he covered it in hollandaise sauce, and it was, I mean, the richest, nice, but incredible.
And it wasn't cooked again. It was just the cooked crab pulled together with the hollandaise sauce on top.
Yep.
That sounds amazing.
It was amazing. He called it a crab bomb, and it was just boom. It was there on your plate.
Yeah. And what year was that? That was a while ago, right?
That was a long time ago. That was 96 through 2000 that I was doing that.
So how much did a crab bomb cost back then?
Even back then, it was like a $40 dish.
Yeah.
Even back then, but the same amount if you went to
it was like
Jerry's
a half a pound of crab.
Yeah, nowadays it would probably be close to $100.
Wow. Yeah. So here's the recipe that comes with our crab sock pattern, and this is my recipe. You might like this.
I bet I would.
This is a pasta. It's crab pasta with gremolata.
Oh, I love crab pasta.
So
and using vermicelli, that's nice.
Yeah. You get the lemon zest and the garlic. And
it's beautiful.
It's so yummy.
So did you and your family, did you guys do crab picking as a kids? Like, you toss it out on the table?
No, I did not grow up with that. That wasn't really our thing. Did you grow up doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
No, so I came from an all-Italian family, and then they immigrated here to, with just there's an amazing story. My dad's side of the family especially, immigrated here to Maryland, into the Hyattsville area, and that's just one of the things that they embraced. So growing up, we would do that. We would throw out the picnic table. We grew up in Upper Marlboro, actually, on 3 acres. It was out in the country, and we would put the picnic tables outside, out back, and we'd have the Italian family over, and we would take the crabs and just toss them in the middle of the table, and it was great. But I always did it differently.
Okay, tell us.
So everybody else would they'd pick. You pick a crab, you eat it one crab at a time. You're picking as you're taking it apart. But I didn't like the mess, especially when I was younger. I didn't like the mess near my food. So I would pick a plate of crab to myself. I wouldn't touch it. And everybody would, "Hi, my crab." And no, don't you even think about it. And then I would do this. Then I would go upstairs. They are still all down there eating. This is a 4-hour meal, which is not uncommon for Italians.
No, right.
But with crabs, it's even longer. So, and then I would go upstairs. I put on a bowl of pasta. I'd make it, and then I toss it, and then I come downstairs, and in front of them, I would eat my pasta with my crab, and they all wanted a piece. No. Like, you guys were impatient. You got to...
See, that's it. With a crab, when you're picking it like that, you're just getting these little tiny bites. I want a big old mouthful of crab.
Oh, and that's why you pay for it.
Yes, exactly.
You pay for somebody else to pick it, and right. You pay somebody else to make the bomb, and then, yes.
Yes, but I only buy jumbo lump.
Yep.
And this jumbo lump. But this, I'll tell you what, this is a nice way to make a pound of jumbo lump crab meat serve 8 people.
Agreed.
I mean, you're going to use a 1/4 pound for a person if you're talking about a crab cake or 2 crab cakes. You could get 8 to 10, you could serve 8 to 10 people with this, and everybody still feels like they had a decent amount of crab and they're full. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'll tell you a restaurant trick. You can buy a pound of the jumbo lump, and then you can buy a pound of back fin.
Right.
And so you take the back fin and you toss it with the spaghetti. You mix it all together, which gives you that same rich taste. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you take a little bit of the jumbo lump,
put it on top,
and you put it right on top and into each of the 8. And then people are like, "Oh my God, this is wonderful." They see all this crab mixed through, and then a pile of little jumbo lump right on the top. You've hustled them all. But,
now we know your secrets, Peter.
Well, I mean, welcome to here in profitability. But
it's important.
Yeah, God, Ellen did not cheap out on this dinner. My God, she must have spent a
fortune. No, I actually did spend a fortune.
She must have spent a fortune on us.
Do you know how much jumbo lump crab meat costs retail? It was $65 a pound the last time I bought it.
I'll tell you, and this is the absolute truth. Absolute truth. It's not much cheaper for the restaurant.
Really?
Not much. $10 less.
Huh.
We were paying toward the end of the season, I think at our best, we were paying about 45 a pound
Mm-hmm.
at the height of the season. And then toward the end of the season was getting to be 55,
Yeah.
50, right in there, 50. So, I mean, that's why we say market.
Right. No, I get it. And it does. I mean, it changes. When I buy retail, I buy from Crab Knockers, which is a locally owned. I
Yep.
love them. They're great. I
Mhm.
mean,
Nice people,
they have
local business,
great,
and I'll support them.
right. They have great stuff. So let's talk about wine. As I said, we had this whole tobacco buyout and the wine thing. It's a growing industry. We have a local winery here. And I actually used their Old Line Red to make this. This is like a riff on a boeuf dub with their red, and it has some spinach there. That's kind of nice. But
it's great for making a good red wine reduction, and that's
right. Do you cook with a lot of wine at the restaurant?
We use not a ton of red to cook, but we use a ton of white.
Why don't you use the red?
We just don't. We use, the only red wine is we do a reduction. And we do that for this time of year. We actually do that with some of our beef dishes because you get that sweet with the reduction. And then, especially if you mix it with a little honey, which is just wonderful. And we actually have a lamb special right now. So we're doing rack of lamb, and that red wine reduction with the honey in the red wine is a wonderful addition, because with lamb meat, I find even with the rack, which is very mild, that gaminess switch. And he actually did a beet hummus to go with it. So the presentation on the plate is spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. We don't cook with a ton of red, but white, we use gallons a week.
And what do you use that in?
I mean, anything that is a beurre blanc sauce, we're using a lot of white, which we use. We have a dish on the menu which we pour a ton of wine in just as you're cooking it. Sautés, we do chicken piccata.
Oh yeah.
So that's a dish right there. But we use a lot.
Yeah. I think it really enhances the meal.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely does.
And you sell a lot of wine.
We do sell a lot of wine. Yes. We have the best curated list anywhere south of Washington, D.C., south of Baltimore.
I would agree with that.
And we would compete with anybody in Washington on their list, maybe not size of list, but just in quality, and also the diversity. I mean, we have everything from a Uruguayan wine, Argentinian. We really hit all the regions: Spain, Italy, France. We're very well represented from the West Coast, which is California, and Willamette Valley, Pinot Noirs. So we really, really have tried to diversify. And when I first started the list here, again, I've grown it as we've grown. And now our customers down here. So one, we have a very, as you know, and just a lot of your friends and your partners are people from all over the world with excellent tastes and no wine.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a lot of people down here that don't, but want to.
Mm-hmm.
And so we give an opportunity for people to try things that they might not have, instead of just coming and having a Cabernet. I have a lot of guests now that actually come and ask me, and they'll say, Peter, what do you recommend? We want something a little different. So I'll go get them a cool, Brunello that I think will go great with some fish, even though it's red. Or we'll say, okay, we're having a steak tonight. What's different than a normal Cabernet and steak? Okay, well, let's get you something, let's find something fun. And I'm trying to really, really diversify that list, and it's been cool.
Have you ever thought about doing like a little wine tasting? Have you ever done that?
We are probably at the point this year, because we are closed on Mondays. It's impossible to do, unfortunately, while we're in operation. We're a small place, and our kitchen is even tinier.
Mm-hmm.
So what we actually are able to produce out of the kitchen is magnificent. But anytime you throw a monkey wrench into that operation, I don't ever want to hurt the guests that are coming in on a nightly basis. But being closed on Mondays, it does give us an opportunity. So our goal is to do one cool event on a Monday per quarter in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do, I think it'll probably be 3 wine dinners and 1 whiskey dinner. So it'll be, where we bring in a celebrity person, whether it be a really famous wine distributor, somebody that we're buying at, like, my lobby is to get Oren Swift. He won't come, but I would love to.
That'd be very cool.
He'll get his distributor, his local guy, to come in. But and then we'll get a whiskey person to come in and sell those tickets, and we'll do pairings where the chef will come out and he'll talk
Yes.
about why you're having what you're having, and the wine expert will talk about that, and it'll be fun.
That would be amazing.
Yep. And we should be able to sell about 30 seats for each one, so it'll be fun.
Oh, I would love that.
It'll be good. It'll be a good time, and we will do it well when we do it. So
I know you will.
we
Because
tried to wait. That's why, because I don't think we could have pulled it off until now. Like, I don't think we would have been good enough. But
why?
it takes a long time to get a staff and a comfortability in your product in a restaurant. People think that you can open a restaurant. I always feel so sorry for restaurants, including to myself, when you open right away and everybody judges you in that first month. I always tell people this is not a restaurant is like a Swiss watch. And I don't know if anybody's ever gotten a Swiss watch, but they don't work right when you first buy them. They're supposed to, because you're spending a fortune on them, but they're supposed to, but they're not. They actually need to be tuned. They need to be fine-tuned very, very carefully. There's this whole set of gears and systems and everything else inside that have to work perfectly. And a restaurant is the exact same thing. And so until you get it tuned just right, it's not going to be perfect. And it's taken years to do that.
Yeah, because you opened in 2019.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like December, I remember.
December 19. And the first couple months, you're trying to get dialed in, and then you get hit with COVID immediately after.
Yeah, that sucked.
So you have this whole, just as you're just starting to ramp up and get going, this huge monkey wrench that got thrown into. And I'm used to opening restaurants, and I'm used to that part, but that was something new and different for everyone.
I think you guys handled that really gracefully.
We got really lucky.
I mean, I had Colton, Johnny, Katie, and her friend.
I remember. That was fun.
Right? Yeah. All of us quarantining. And we used to order in a couple times a week from you guys. And I saw, sometimes it would just be burgers. And I saw like this transition, instead of sending the burger all on the bun, there was we would get this box, and there would be a burger, and there would be a separate thing with the lettuce, tomato, and then the bun would be separate, and it wasn't soggy. And
yeah. You toast the bun and wrap it up separate, because we were learned as we went. And then when we finally got to reopen and just be outside, and everybody supported us, so we were very lucky that we had, this town was a big part of that support. Where everybody's like, oh my God, we finally got a decent restaurant. Let's not let them go.
Yeah, everybody was nice.
It's like, yes, please save them. There is luck in all things. I mean, you have to be good at what you do, but really business has a lot of luck to do. And we just got here at a perfect time. And I give you guys a lot of credit, because I didn't believe it.
You didn't?
No. I mean, I trust Susan.
Where is your faith?
I put a lot of faith in Susan Dyer.
Yeah,
I really do.
Absolutely.
Because that's who I knew.
Yeah.
And she's the one who dragged me down here. But I'm very glad I did. It was a great decision. And it was, you guys were able to, and you're a big part of this town, and building this town square area. I mean, you're part of the business association. You are.
I don't take any credit for any of that, Peter. Let me just put it right here. That's all Lachelle. Lachelle McKay is the one in charge of that. I am.
But you know what?
Yeah.
It's never an individual.
No,
you're talking about a group of people that came together and decided they wanted to see Leonardtown succeed. And it has, and it's growing, and it's going to continue. I mean, we are at the front end of what's going to be a long ride, I think, of this wave. Oh, absolutely.
So what's the future for, say, Sweetbay? I know that you like to use local ingredients, but it's not really possible for you to be farm to table.
No. And I don't want to criticize any other restaurant that says it, but it's impossible to be completely farm to table and have your menu that you put out on a regular night, unless you are literally putting out a menu that comes out that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that there be certain days that you have 6 things on the menu.
Right.
And it's impossible. But I love to use this last year in 2023, you used more local products than we ever have before.
Really?
From the Amish pork.
Is that where you get those big old pork chops?
That's
those
where
are some beautiful pork chops.
Fantastic. That we can do year round. Not one of them have been able to supply our beef, unfortunately, but they just couldn't. They can't maintain it.
Industry.
No,
it's not a beef area.
But local produce, when it is in season, We got peaches, tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, the local cheeses, goat cheese, and local fresh mozzarella.
Really?
I mean, so all summer up until about mid-September, late September, Jack would take a drive. He would just go up to the thing and he would buy, and then if he saw local vegetables and things that he liked, he would buy them and they would be on the menu.
You can see that the pattern on here is a little leaf, like a little cabbage leaf.
That is cool.
Isn't that cute?
It really is. Are these yours?
Are they mine?
I mean,
Do I own that? Yeah, we designed it. Jenny May designed these.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So super fun. And so I don't know that any
cool.
like independent people make their own stuffed ham. I mean, it's the kind of thing at a church. I used to go to Trinity Church and they would have their big oyster dinner with stuffed ham and everything. And it was a thing that you did kind of institutionally. You know,
so I've never had it.
You've never had it. Okay, well, I'm going to bring you some. So what I think would be really fun is if you had like as an appetizer, like stuffed ham croquettes or you know, like do your riff on it. That's a recipe for stuffed ham, and I'm not going to suggest that you make it yourself. I'm going to suggest that you buy it from somebody who knows what they're doing, like Choptico Market. Because they do. They know what they're doing. It's a corn ham. And basically the filling is the best. And you could just do the filling, which is kale and cabbage and onion and hot peppers.
And so how do you stuff a ham?
So it's not really stuffed. I mean, okay, so you get the ham and you take the bone out. So you're going to butterfly it, right?
Okay, sure.
It's like stuffing a leg of lamb. How are you going to stuff a leg of lamb?
I got you.
Okay, you're going to put the stuffing in the middle. You're going to roll it up. You're going to put cuts in, and you're going to shove the filling in there, right? Just like you would a leg of lamb.
Okay.
Right, a boneless leg of lamb, and then you wrap it in cheesecloth. But the ham is already corned, so corned like you would do corned beef, and it's delicious.
I mean, all the ingredients are good. I mean, if you like ham and you like kale, and
right.
how can
do you like kale?
I've done certain ways.
Yeah, but I think, you know, even if you were to do like just the stuffing and do like a stuffed ham croquette, I think that would be just a really fun. Maybe do it on Maryland Day or something. Just once. I'll bring you.
I'll tell you this, ham. Jack. He is really, really creative at trying to find like something super high end and mixing it with a local flair.
I feel like you have such respect for the ingredients that are indigenous to the region.
You have to.
So what is next for Sweetbay?
We will continue to, you know, build our brand and get better. We are about to do a renovation, actually, a little renovation in the back of the restaurant. You guys will get a memo about that.
What is the Sweetbay brand? What is your brand promise, if you had to sum it up?
It's two things. It's that every time you come in, we want to treat you and make you feel special, even if it's your 10th time or your first. And we want to treat everyone the same and give everybody a special experience. It's probably why everybody, you know, when they have their birthdays and they do their celebrations here, that's why we ask everybody that comes in, are you celebrating something with us tonight? That is, to me, the key is, yes, we live on our regulars. It's a small town. So consistency is great, but also the other goal for us is always to be better. And you know, if we ever say, oh no, we're at the point where we want to be, then I feel like if you get to a certain place, then you're going backwards If you're happy with it, then you're going to just start going backwards. You always have to be going forward.
Yes.
And so our competition is not local. Our competition is the best restaurants in DC, the best restaurants in Richmond, the best restaurants in Baltimore. That's what I consider our competition. And I want to strive to be better than them. And we do that every day. And I want to learn and I want to get better. And I try to put that out to my staff. Let's get better all the time. Let's embrace that change. And you really see those people that appreciate it. You see that
Absolutely.
staff, and most of our staff, I think, is really there. They're
Oh.
going along that journey with us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about a team, right?
It is.
I see Leonardtown being a destination.
I think it is becoming so. It will get more so, but it already is.
Right.
It really already is.
Whether it's a destination for a Rowan flagship store, a Noro stockist, or Tea Time Fibers, or for our fabulous, fabulous restaurant. So
I appreciate that.
absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. It's been really fun.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And you absolutely, please have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you next week. And again, if you have not subscribed, please click that button and see the little sparkles. We will see you next time. And until then, keep knitting.